Hi, this is Eric Stoller. We're here at the Eric Stoller Show here at our office in North Miami Beach. We're here today with Bernard, W.H. Jennings, and Vanessa Casiss. Also, Vanessa Casiss Jennings. I don't know what's going on there,
Yep.
but hey, welcome
Change the
both
name.
of you for being on the show. Bernard and myself and Vanessa, we work closely together with events. That we just had a big community event honoring Lawrence Jessup, the one of the activists in the Biscayne Garden area. We had it on like one of the worst days. We still had a great turnout.
Yeah.
People still came out. And we got a lot of things to talk about, especially the release of Bernard's new book, The Good Dad Act. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But welcome both of you. Bernard, tell people first a little bit about what you do, with the chamber and how in the community you're out there helping folks on a regular basis.
Well, I'm Bernard Jennings. I am the 24th elected congressional delegate for South Florida under Frederica Wilson, the Congresswoman. So I'm headed to Chicago in August for the National Convention to make sure that we put Biden back in office and make the community a nice place to live.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump says, he's not happy with Milwaukee. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
right down the road. But,
He's not happy with a lot of things, right?
Well-
and he has good reason not to be happy. But the chamber, we're not for profit, and we don't get involved in politics at the chamber. We're
Right.
helping everyone in the community. We're nonpartisan, and we were established about 7 years ago. We have a partnership with Google called Grow with Google, where we help businesses to connect with their Google Analytics and get online and learn how to grow their business. At the chamber, we have a program called Hygiene for Homeless that Ms. Vanessa Casiss, our Vice President of Philanthropy, heads up to make sure that we're taking care of the homeless in the community in Dade and Broward County. We do the farm share uh, assistance where we team up with an organization called Farm Share to provide groceries to those that need it throughout the community. We do a lot of things to help small businesses and promote community endeavors. Like you said, we did the Lawrence Jessup Community Service Award. We awarded some great folks this past week.
Yes,
Yeah.
including the mayor of Miami-Dade
Mayor Daniel Cabo
County as
received
well.
the award. The director of the Miami-Dade County Police Department, Ms. Daniels, the assistant police chief, the first woman assistant police chief of the city of Opelika, Dr. Robin Starks, Joseph Geller, who's an outgoing state representative in the Aventura area, which is District 100. He's term limited out, and he's now running for school board. We honored him. He's done a lot of great work. He's actually a city attorney for almost every municipality in Dade
Wow.
County. He's been around.
So highly influential people that we honored there. And it was on a day where last week there was crazy floods everywhere. We had 5 Amber Alerts. We said
Every 20 minutes, it was an amber alert. Don't leave your home. You may die.
yeah. Thanks for the warning. So what are you going to do? And we still had a lot of people come out. So let's talk though a little bit about Vanessa, what you've been doing with the homeless. I think that's really a wonderful project. I think that's something that it doesn't get addressed enough.
Yeah.
There's so many homeless out there. Maybe we don't see it as much because we're a suburban urban city. Growing up in New York, you would see it, right? You walk in Manhattan, you walk in the subway. Here, yeah, if you're in South Beach or maybe downtown, but if we're driving our day-to-day life, you may drive right by it and not see it. But I want you to talk a little about the program that you put together,
Yep.
and also, what's coming in the future, because as we kind of highlighted it the other night, we forget we're over here like worrying about our cell phones and our podcast equipment and. Oh my God, my car was flooded out, my Mercedes. People are like, poor Eric. No, I'm like, I go,
We should have a place to live.
at least I got a place to live, right? And then you go, hey, I got not 1 car, but 2 cars, but 3 cars. Oh, wow, I'm trying to actually change just like I've been working on my weight loss. I'm trying to minimalize all the things in my life because you get to a point like, how much do you really need, right?
Exactly.
Like I have all this clothing we can donate, suits and shirts. Some of it's brand new. That let's put people into clothing so they can get a job, and instead of this going in the garbage or going with Goodwill and nobody gets it to use, let's actually put it onto people. So, and what's interesting about it is I think it's not a simple problem, but we're going to get into it about the whole mental health thing and talking about the Good Dad Act. But I want you to talk a little bit about the program you've created and how it's really been, a real big part of the chamber.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me along with my husband. I hold hygiene for the homeless dearly to my heart. So it actually started in the back trunk of my car.
Okay.
And I used to travel a lot for my previous position before I became a real estate agent. And when you went to the hotels and you have all the toiletries, there's excess. So I would pack them in my bag. And as I drove around the city, I would put them in little baggies and I would hand them out. And that's how it started. It started developing as getting bags from Amazon in bulk and passing them out. What I will actually do was open my trunk and allow them to pick the items that they wanted and put it into their bags. So it does a couple things. Number one, it allows them to become human again. So that's where our motto is we're going to stand for humanity. Because for someone to enter your property and even putting their hands into your car, that's entering your property.
Right.
So the humanitarian perspective. Two, it's empowerment. Someone like you said who has a vehicle. I have a vehicle. I have a nicer vehicle, and I'm allowing this person who's walking on the streets that has no family, friends, or maybe not have any really any mental support to empower them to pick as many items as they want. Oh, you want two soaps? Get two.
Right.
Oh, you're only getting three? No, no, get four. And empowering them. So it's empowering is the mental health. And then three, we are all about two paychecks from being homeless. Realistically, when you look at all your expenses, the subscriptions, the rents that are constantly going up every year, and it's not really 5%. The food, it's more 10, 20%. The
Yes.
food, the same thing we used to buy, were able to buy a whole cart of groceries for $100. Now you only buy 6 items and it's
It's
$100.
unbelievable.
It's hard. It's hard for all of us. So that's how hygiene for the homeless began. And I was doing it for about a year and a half. And then after a year and a half, I met with Mr. Jennings at the time. He was not my husband, but I met him. And he thought I was doing an excellent thing. And what he did is he saw a vision and he expounded on it. And that's what I really, really appreciated about him. He expounded it. And at that time, when I was doing it on my own, I was giving about 200 hygiene bags to the communities throughout Broward and Dade County, because that's my farm areas. And with the help of the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce in the community, we turned 200 bags into 2,000 bags a year.
Wow.
So what a difference, how
Great
impactful.
impact.
We allowed AT&T and T and various organizations to assist us in the donations. And when we fell short, we actually took money out of our own pockets and poured back into the program. So it was at moments where we had to put 2,000, 3,000 of our own finances coming together as a team to make it happen.
Yes.
Now, what?
Okay.
I was gonna say, so now it's more of a tradition for the
Mhm.
chamber. It's a fixed program, which I'm very proud of and appreciative. But it's saying that, as Bernard said, it's not about one group of people. There's everyone, even the people that you think that has the strongest finances. Remember, I'm a real estate agent, so I see people's finances truly. And you think this person has tons of money, and when you look at their finances, they only have like $800 in their account. Really, they're not able to afford a home, but even buying a house sometimes is cheaper than renting these days. So that mental health of being able to live and sustain yourself as a human,
Mhm.
I think we should focus on that. And that's what the program focuses on. And I'm glad to talk about it today.
No, that's great. And
Mhm.
that's kind of, what I was talking earlier about our Patient Zero Health series, because I think a lot of people, like you said, they got mental illness.
Yeah.
A lot of it, like you said, maybe they were on a bad situation. They didn't have any support. They couldn't figure it out. Next thing they're on the street.
Maybe a breakup in a relationship and
Yeah.
hey, gotta go. Nowhere to
And
go with the car.
right.
Mhm.
And then what happens? You can turn to drugs, alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that it's happened to. And so, and I think most of us, when we see a homeless person, we're right away like, oh, you're shunning them, right?
Yeah. It's
And
sad.
it's unfortunate because, there's a lot of people, especially in the city of Miami, where there's a lot of wealth and then there's a lot of poverty.
Um,
So we go a little bit here east, and you got some of the most expensive real estate on the ocean, right? You've got all the most expensive condos. You and I, if we could just work those 4 or 5 buildings at agents, we wouldn't have to do anything else. People are complaining, oh, it's 10 million, it's 5 million, it's too much to expect to buy so I'm going to rent it 13,000 a month. I mean, he's a preposterous. But again, when you're talking to somebody on the street, then now they're like they can take 2 deodorants and they can take some soap and they can take some stuff that we're like, wow, that you said it, empowering. So now if you could take them from there and get them cleaned up, what could you do if you actually can help them get some skills, or you don't know what skills they have, right? How many people we really get to know them had really successful jobs, but it's the mental illness.
But you know the part about it where it's like you're stuck in a rock and a hard place. In
Yes,
order to get a job, you need an address. So if
right,
you don't have any families or friends to give you an address to have a job, where do you go? What do? You can't use the homeless shelter.
right. You can't list the homeless
No.
anymore.
And most people don't realize that about 2.5 years ago, all the mental health facilities were defunded. They were shut down government funding,
Wow,
meaning that they actually opened the doors and told them to walk out. There was a mental health facility off of Commercial Boulevard and Rock Island. And I actually saw these patients, they didn't know what, they look bewildered as if you get up from a really good like REM sleep
Walking
and your
around.
days, that's how they were, like a movie. And I could not believe it. No one was talking about it. And I
wow,
started doing more research because they no longer receive funding.
wow. That's unbelievable.
Mhm.
And these are solvable problems. I just met with somebody, and the government will pay uh, thousands of dollars for wound care patients. Now think about this,
Mhm.
because if they have to amputate a limb, it costs them $6 to $12 million to care for that person with a life in it of it. So what about all of these people? Can we take? We're giving the Ukrainians 50 billion. Can we try and take some of that money? Well, he wants to get Joe
That's the
reelected
other
over
that's the
here.
other conversation.
It's him and his crew. I'm here to talk about that. Let's talk about like what's really exciting news.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I think the book started with you having personal issues that you dealt with, and I'll let you get into how much
Mhm.
detail you want. But that obviously having your background in law and being a professional mediator, I think a lot of people in your situation probably wouldn't be able to do what you did. You would. We'll talk about some of the
Yeah.
dads that you've run into now have spent tens of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars to fix the situation, and nobody's helping them. Right?
Right.
They're paying lawyers and they're not getting anywhere. In fact, my friend Robert, years ago, I think I told you, Rob came by and he worked with us, and he was a big proponent because the same thing happened to him. And so it's really interesting in father's right. And, and you don't realize it until something, you go, oh, you hear about it.
Yeah.
And then, like, I had a
It's a
friend I
passive
know.
emotion.
Yeah, I had a friend, totally extreme, but he was in California and he was married to a Japanese woman, and she took the kids and went to Japan. Now they were American citizens, but he couldn't find them. She went back to Japan. So you think about it, and okay, as a mother, you're the bearer of these children. But I have a friend who actually got full custody of his son because the mother was unfit. And today the kid is a Stanford MBA that works for
Right.
McKinsey out of London, making 6, 7 figures with his girlfriend because he was in the right environment.
Yep.
So that's real important. So let's talk a
Yes.
little bit about the book, The Good Dad Act, right? I know it's more with Ethan.
The book is Ethan's Good Dad Act.
Ethan's Good Dad
A
Act.
father turns his lemons into lemonade so that all good dads can take a sip. It is spurned off of the Good Dad Act.com, which is the Good Dad Act law, which is House Bill 775, which passed last July 1st. It says when a father steps up and he's on the birth certificate, that he has the same rights and responsibilities as the natural mother does, as if they were married, although they're not.
Okay.
Prior to this, if you, in Florida, if you had a child out of wedlock, you have no rights. The law actually says the child is the mother's the natural born guardian
Of
and the
the
only
child.
guardian of the child.
Okay.
You have to go to court, and the judge has to establish what they call paternity that says you now have the financial responsibility of the child, and then you can pay child support. So it doesn't give you visitation. You have to serve the mother to get that paternity. And then, if you know where she is, because if she's moved to Georgia, Japan, or wherever else, you have to find her.
Right.
Then after you do
Sure.
that,
Yeah.
they say, okay, you have paternity. The mother says she needs help. Okay, pay child support. How much you gonna pay? It's a federal guideline. How much you got to pay? And you say, okay, where's my visitation? Oh, you have to serve her again and have another hearing. And then if the mother and you don't get along, and she's making allegations against you, then you got to go through this whole reunification process. Maybe uh, a meeting once a week in a center someplace, or joint counseling or mediation first. It will take months, and you got to pay for it. Maybe a year down the road, 6 months down the road, then you have a hearing. They say, okay, you can have visitation if the mother's still allowing you to. If she doesn't allow you to, then you get minimal, maybe once a month, every other weekend, maybe on Wednesdays.
So it's a
It's a
process.
process, and that's 2 years after the breakup. And then some dads, it's easier just to go get another kid somewhere else and walk away.
Wow.
So you have a lot of, you
Yeah.
have a lot of, you have a lot of men that have walked away. Maybe they had false allegations in the court. That's another issue where they can't go near the mother within 500 feet or they get arrested. So when they try to, come around, the mother allows them to, and then when she doesn't feel like it anymore, she calls the police, and he get threatened, going to go to jail. So she says, forget it, I don't want to go to jail. I'm going to go right. I'm not going to go left. And then the years go by, the kid's 15, 17, 18 years old. My deadbeat dad, they've made deadbeat dad because he's absent, but not because of it on his own, not all on his own, because of a situation where he couldn't. The mother might have moved away to another state. He didn't know where he was. Like my son's was, she moved away to another county. But I have a lot of dads that I know that have their kid, mother moved to another place. 3, 4, 5 years, you can't find a
You
kid.
can't find
Can't find a
it.
kid. Paying child support, and the government won't tell them where the kid's at. You have to go hire a private investigator, hire an attorney, and find them.
So is this now the what you got now passed into law, and Governor DeSantis, right? This is not a this is
It's
not partisan. This is for, I
bipartisan
don't
bill.
care if you're Republican, Democrat. I
Yeah,
don't care what
it
you are.
affects everybody.
Exactly. And again, I know your personal situation, and when you look at it, you go, "Come on, really?" And again, you having access to the law and knowing a lot of the right people were able to make it happen. I believe, based on a lot of the things that are going on, you're seeing, like you said, either walking away, or the dad possible having mental health issues, or the child having, issues. Maybe there's another man in the life who's abusive, or the worst case, which is the dad pulls a gun and kills everybody.
Because
Yes.
that happens too.
And he's like, I had it.
It happens too.
Everybody else got to
I'm
go.
done.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you feel demasculated. You feel the no hope. Imagine this is your child. If you're a heartful person, if
Right.
you're a woman can resonate with this. This is your child. If someone take your child away, what goes through your mind?
Right.
Everything negative. So it happens to men too when they think that men don't feel. I believe I've been doing 48 weeks of meetings with men all around the country on an evening pong class. It's every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. It's at thegooddadact.com where people can get a link to go there. I'm talking to men around the country, hundreds of men. And men usually don't have a place to go to talk about stuff
Sure,
like this. We talk
absolutely.
about sports, we talk about business, talk about other things.
Yeah.
We don't talk about personal relationships. We talk about failed relationships. We talk about missing our kid. There are men walking the streets that you think they're angry and dysfunctional because of other things, and they're this way because of the loss of their child, and they're not talking about it. They have depression going on the inside, which leads to other ailments, diabetes, anxiety. And it's because they have a disconnect from their God given right to father a child. It's the pursuit of happiness. It's the liberty you have to know that you have a child, somebody that looks up to you, and you're fathering them, you're caring for them, you're loving them, and it makes you feel good to see them grow, just like
Sure,
your parents.
absolutely.
But there are men out there on a regular basis that are missing this, and we think something else is wrong with them, and they have other vices to cope. They're coping with drugs, they're coping with alcohol, they're coping with uh, unadulterated sex, they're coping with overeating. It's a mental
they're
health
finding
issue. They're finding
yes.
other ways to cope instead of dealing with the
Absolutely.
issues at hand, which is the lack of their love of their daughter or their son because of bad breakup as a divorce or bad breakup of a relationship, and they don't know how to deal with it. So they move on to some other thing.
So now you have provided an outlet. They can come, hear their grievances, give them direction, and your book just came out.
The book came out yesterday on Amazon. You can get it at ethanslaw.com or ethansgooddadact.com.
Fantastic.
It's on Amazon. You go to Amazon, look for it. It's there. It's a nominal price for the book. It's in hardback. It's an audio. It's on digital, and it's on paperback.
Fantastic. So we're trying to get it on the New York Times or the Amazon bestseller.
Yeah.
So get your copy of that book, and then tell us a little bit about what you're doing with this movement, because I know you're trying to help get the laws established
Yes.
in other
Other
states. and share with us what you're doing. Because there may be some dads
Yeah,
listening to this that they may
yeah.
need the help and say, I need to get the book, I need to jump on the Zoom,
Mhm.
and I need to find out more. We'll have all of this linked below. It'll also be on the Eric Stoller Show website as well to get more information, as well as Biscayne Gardens Chamber. So, Bernard, let's talk about that a little bit.
I'm honored that Les Brown has reviewed the book, endorsed the book, and yes, he has a passage in the book. So does Brian Tracy. These are both renowned authors and public speakers. Brian Tracy just wrote his 94th book. It's about to be released. 32,
94th book.
32 principles.
Wow.
I spoke to him yesterday. He said, Bernard, you just have to ask.
That's
What's the
right.
secret to success is asking for what you want. So I'm asking folks to go to Amazon and get the book. It's Ethan's Good Dad Act. You can go to ethanslaw.com and get it, or ethansgooddadact.com. And the book really resonates into, first it talks about the problem that was before us, which all of us have issues before us, but how do you address the issues? For me, when the issue came before me where the judge said, there's nothing we can do for you, you're in a birth certificate, like they say to many men, but the law's not on your side. You don't have access to your child. You have to go through all these steps. Sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. And hung up the Zoom call. My first thought was, wow, I can't believe this. How is that the case? I've cared for my son majority of the time for the last 7 years of his life, and someone's just take him away, and it's okay. Clearly, there's wrong. Clearly, they can see what's going on, but the law didn't say that this was wrong. The problem was not the judge. The problem was not the child's mother. The problem was not the attorney of the mother, because they're following the law. Just like a lot of other things, the law is wrong. I'm going to change the law. And that's what I said to do. I wrote a 3-page proposal to the legislature. Christopher Benjamin, a Democratic state representative, picked it up. Clay Yarborough out of Jacksonville, state senator, he picked it up, and it passed the House and the Senate unanimously. 8 months later, signed into law. And we've led a group of men and women, some grandmothers, some wives, some sisters, that come to this uh, podcast. It's a podcast. It's a free thing. It's on uh, a Google Meet every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. It lasts about an hour and a half. We've had attorneys come on, sitting judges come on, other practitioners, health practitioners, talk to these men. And the men have had an ability to collaborate together, to share their stories in a short way, and then talk about best practices, how they've coped. So a guy that's been through it can talk to the guy that just got into it,
Absolutely.
and
Well,
then work their ways through the process of the issue, and then talk about some legal things and get some education, what they can do legally to overcome the situation. Not focus on their child's mother that they feel has outed them,
sure.
but focus on how do you curb your behavior, how do you curb your litigation proceedings to effectuate what I have now. I have
Right.
50-50 with my son. I have him Friday to Friday. So I pick him up, I care for him through the week, I do things that every intact family would do with my son. And then Friday, he goes to his mom, and then I have my regular work week until the next Friday when I see him again. I have regular phone calls in between. That don't always go well, but it's happening. So my son confidence level is up way here.
Right.
Prior to this, my son was in a regular class in a public school. About 2 months into this, me helping him with his English and his math and helping him after school, got a call from the principal. Ethan's doing real good. We want to move to a gifted program. His reading on a fourth grade level. He was a third grade at the time. So I know from personal experience, this helps children to be connected with both parents.
Well, without a doubt. I think
63% of the dropout rate of kids are kids who come from a broken home. 83% of these children are involved in some sort of behavior that is not conducive to what children should be doing because of not having a father in the home. If you look at the statistics on the incarcerated men came from 80 to 90% of those men incarcerated in jail now are from broken homes where the father was not present in the home. A father not being present at home causes problem for daughters and sons. Men provide the lesson of chastity to their daughters, and they provide their son the respect of authority. So that as he grows older, he meets another man and he meets a police officer at his police stop. Instead of seeing this person as an enemy, he stops and reflects about the respect that you give to the man in your life, to respect the authority, to listen first and then answer. Teaches a young lady to protect themselves and to honor themselves in their body rather than seeking affection, attention from another man unless they fit a certain criteria that was provided to you by your father.
Hmm.
Clear cut.
I have okay. Interesting.
And It's not 100% for everybody. There may be a little difference because some people go without a father, and they're fine because you can have a child from the same household. One becomes a doctor, the other one becomes a drug dealer. So it just depends, you know, on
Sure.
not bringing exposure. But clearly, the statistics shows what the norm is. So what we're trying to do with the Good Dad Act Committee and gooddadact.com, as you can find, is to bring these men together, bring these practitioners to them, give them a chance to have an outlet to speak to one another. And then we've appointed team leaders in 13 other states now. We've taken the same legislation, mirrored it with the team leader in that state, put their name on the proposal also, and submitted in their jurisdiction. It's been in U.S. Virgin Islands now, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, North Carolina, Indiana, Iowa, Arizona, um, and Alabama.
And how is it
And
going
Michigan.
with getting them through?
Well, it's going through the process now. We're at the end of legislative session for most jurisdictions. So as we move through the summer, I guess people in those communities are having different meetings about the bills that are going to pass in the legislature, and it'll pick up for next year and hopefully get passed. Missouri also passed it in Missouri. So we've got Florida and Missouri, and we're moving through these other states.
Very exciting. So what's the website to go get a hold of the book again?
The website for the book is ethanslaw.com or ethansgooddadact.com. The name of the book is Ethan's Good Dad Act. You can go to amazon.com and find it. Just put in Ethan's Good Dad Act. And if you want to be a part of the movement, because it's a movement now to change laws across the country, go to gooddadact.com. And you'll see a membership application there. You'll be able to read stories. We have blogs on there. We actually have a partnership with Google because a lot of dads have financial issues through the chamber, Biscayne Gardens Chamber. We're a partnership with Google. So there's a portal there where you can get training from
You can
Google,
get
which is
jobs.
free, and then you take that certification, you print up yourself, put in your resume. If you don't have the resume, is a webinar how to do the resume online, and then you go ahead and apply for the job. There's jobs right now today for men all around the country and women. Anybody can go there and get a job. Just apply. It's
That's
there. Google
fantastic.
brings it all to the portal.
So that's fantastic. Vanessa, what do you think of all this? You've seen this all come together. You've
Yeah.
been someone in the middle of it.
Yeah.
As kind of as both a spectator and participant.
Absolutely.
So what's your take on everything that's going on?
I definitely 100%, 1,000% agree to what Bernard is doing and has done. Um, I really, 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 really encourage when he went through that process and the judge told him that he had no rights. Number
Right.
one, I had no idea. I grew up thinking that if you signed a birth certificate, you are the legal
Sure.
dad. You have rights. And to figure out and find out at that moment in my 30s that you have no rights, I think that was absolutely insane. And I commend you. I commend you for turning your pain, like you said, your book, lemons into lemonade. I would say lemonade and Hennessy, a little spicier because it has definitely pissed some people off, and that's what you kind of need.
Right.
You need people to be upset. You need these women to understand that they do not just have the rights. It takes two to have a child,
That's correct.
and you decide to lay with that person. And it's different if the man is not a good father, but you have to look deep inside yourself and I notice as a woman, the woman likes to throw out, oh, I'm doing what's the benefit for my child or what's good for my child. You know darn well it's not good for your child to ostracize your child from your father when all he wants to do is take the kid out for ice cream or help them with their homework or call them. Yeah, spend quality time. It's kind of crazy. Now, one thing, the whole chastity situation, I think that was interesting turn that you put.
I've got two daughters, so both my experience.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't come I'm that other spectrum. So Bernard has had both his mother and father, and I grew up with my mother. And as time progressed, my mother chose amazing person who I see as my father. But I was extreme. I was extreme in my household. I heard of Debbie dads. And my family is mostly of women. Most of the
But you had a
women,
father figure. That's the difference. Some people don't have that.
yeah, but that father figure didn't come until 7 years old. So when you're talking about a child, most of your development of morality and understanding and caring for yourself, it's really from the womb to you're about, I would say, to 12. So as a woman, now you're exposed to sex, you're exposed to a lot of things, and this is in grade school. So let's be realistic, people. So I'm happy that you did mention that. But I've seen a lot of women who have a father figure and they're the most promiscuous girls I've seen on the streets. So let's revert back. As a woman, I am proud that you guys are coming together because for women, that's what allows us to be strong, is that
Sure.
we've created communities for ourselves, best friends, girlfriends. We have our brunches and we talk about our problems that are going on, and we expound on it. We consult with each other. Oh, you went through this issue, okay, I'm going to do that too. And it's a community, and I'm so happy you built that community with all the dads. And I remember one of your podcast events that he did. It was the day before Christmas Eve, and I said, Bernard, it's Christmas Eve. What are you doing? Let's spend time with the family. He said, Vanessa, but I have multiple families, which is true. You have, technically, you have a family with every child that, well, every person you've had a child with. You have a family with the Biscayne Gardens. You have a family with all the organizations you have. You do have multiple
There's
families.
these hundreds of dads around the country that look to me now and call me daily, send me emails and texts about their situation. Cool, what should I
Sure.
do? Asking for advice.
And you
My
remember,
phone never stops ringing.
yeah, I remember that guy. He said, "Thank you, Bernard, for having this on Christmas Eve because I know you're probably with your son, and he heard Ethan in the
You
background,
can have
and
his face.
everyone's with their family and friends." He said, "I was going to commit suicide today because I was alone and I felt demasculated. I felt like everything was taken away from me. I'm going through cancer treatments, and because I have shots and bruises in my body, the mother lied and said that I was a drug addict. Where I have doctor visits and my nurses to show, but this is what greed. This is what, unfortunately, jealousy
Selfish.
and yeah, very selfish and
Mhm.
anger does. So I'm glad what you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep having the community groups. The guys join it because you might think that this is only happening to you and you have the worst case scenario, but there's always something worse. As Eric said, we talk about, oh, I feel bad for myself because my Mercedes is now flooded, but I have two other cars or another car I can deal with. A lot of us are like that. We put ourselves in a pity party and we're victims, but take yourself out of that box and become a successor of your own story because there are others that
Doing
are
way worse.
doing, yeah, they're doing worse and they have a better outlook, or they're doing worse and you can help pour into them. So overall, keep up the good
I,
work.
I think of that lady. I saw something on me, a video on Facebook. This lady, she doesn't have any arms, and she's in the kitchen, and she's got her feet up, and she's washing dishes with her feet,
Right.
Mhm.
and making food and feeding herself and her kid. And we complain
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
what
it's
we don't
just
have.
again when you're put in a situation that you have to do things that
Yeah.
push you out of your comfort zone, as
Yeah.
Brian Tracy talks
Hmm.
about. Because that's one of the things I learned from him is you got to just stay uncomfortable long enough.
Hmm.
And I think we deal with so much emotion, and I
Mhm.
can totally relate to it. I look at somebody trying to take my daughter, or somebody says I can't see her, and again, like you said, if the father's a bad father, it's one thing. But here,
Exactly.
the father, like
Cares.
especially in your case, is hey, I'm only here for the benefit of the child. And let's talk about this for a moment because I think a
Mhm.
lot of these women, and I don't want to be, they use the child. It's like,
Pawns.
yes, like weaponization.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so instead of like saying like this is what I learned, with Maria, because Marlon's father, he was with us since he was very little, but never ever that she ever talked bad about his father. Father was always his father. I never came in like I'm his father. I had my role with him always to pour, but to be a father figure, but never. I didn't need to. His father and I were friends.
Yes.
But again, there's a lot of people that just don't have what's called emotional intelligence. So,
Mhm.
so this is why I encourage many of you, if you're going to listen to this, to go get on the Zoom, get the book, get educated. Because if you're going to be mad and pissed off, you know what's going to happen? You're going to keep drinking. You're going to keep doing drugs. You're going to keep hanging around people. Maybe you decide, you know what, I had it, F this, and you do something rash. Happens in an instant. You
Yeah.
buy a gun to kill somebody, to
Yeah.
do something, but you want to throw them off a balcony.
Mhm.
And I mean that literally and
Literally,
figuratively,
figuratively.
because you're
Yeah.
so angry with
Yeah.
rage because the laws are not fair. So get with Bernard, get with Vanessa, but get on the program. When is it again? What
It's
date you
it's
on it?
every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. You go to gooddadact.com and you'll get the link. You'll sign up and become a member. You'll get the link, and then you can come to the program. It doesn't cost anything for the program. Do the application. We just want to register you, so we'll put you on there. Gooddadact.com.
So
It's a Good Dad Act committee.
so gooddadact.com. Click on the link, get registered. You come every week.
The free attorneys are there I bring an attorney on every week,
so it's free.
or some other practitioner to talk to you. You ask a question, the other men are asking questions. You're about to ask your question, someone asks the same question because you know what? This issue resonates with a lot of people. When I'm here
Right.
on this podcast and I'm watching these guys, it's on the internet, it's online. You don't have to leave your house. And I'm listening to the stories. The stories, I had a hat to
Similar.
pass it around. Very similar stories, just a little change for each person.
Right.
But we're facing the same thing. I don't understand how the courts and the laws didn't already fix this already because the judges sitting there must know
But
this is what's going on
nobody took the
to
time to
change the
do
law,
what you
which is what I
did
did.
because the statement is okay.
Not my problem.
Right. And again, here it is, a Democrat puts it to the test, and a Republican governor saw that this has nothing to do with politics. It
Pick that
all
up.
to do
Yeah.
with fathers' rights.
Unanimous
And
decision.
I can say about the guy, at least he's fair on certain
Yeah.
issues. And I think that's one because you know what? I hear, like I said, there's so many horror stories that you hear. So keep up the good work. Get your book. Get Ethan's Good Dad Act. Get that book. The information will be there to get
It's
there.
on Amazon right now. Ethan's Good Dad. I'm trying to get 3,500 sales in the next 48 hours to be on the New York bestseller list, and we can skyrocket, maybe make a movie out of this.
Yes.
Hey, anything, just speak it into existence.
Yes.
Hey, this is Eric Stoller here for the Eric Stoller Show here.
Bernard Jennings with the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce and Ethan's Good Dad Act.
And Vanessa Casiss Jennings, you had it right, with the Biscayne Gardens Chamber of Commerce and Keller Williams Elite Properties.
All right, there you have it. Thanks again. Another episode of the Eric Stoller Show. Hey, we'll be back to you soon to get more information on anything we talked about today. Click the ericstollershow.com to find out more about our guests, what they're doing, access to video, and more. Remember, it's up to you. Take advantage of every opportunities in front of you. Seize the day. Make things happen. This is Eric Stoller saying, if it's meant to be, it's up to me.